Hi, my name's Catherine, and this is how I learned pottery in 30 days. Right now, I'm taking what feels like a huge risk, traveling halfway across the globe to dive headfirst for one whole month into something I can't even be sure I'll like. But something tells me I might just love it. Sorry, I haven't really introduced myself. So, in true sitcom fashion, here's everything you need to know about me in just 30 seconds. This is me, Catherine. You knew that already. I was born in the US to Chinese parents, and last year in 2023, I graduated from college. I did what most people do after that, find a job and start working. I packed my bags for New York City and began my new life. But less than a year in, my life began to shift in ways I couldn't have planned for. And I quit the job I was really hopeful about before I was ready to let go. But in getting pushed out of the future I had imagined for myself, I felt a pull in a new direction. And that pull brought me here, to Jingdezhen, China, the heart of porcelain. Specifically, it's brought me here. Master John's. I'm here today to take a tour of the place where I'll be spending the better part of the next month. The classroom is filled with students focused intently on the glistening, spinning forms in front of them. And the recycle pile in the corner is almost as impressive as their work. In Jingdezhen, pottery is made with a system of specialization, which enables the highest quality product. Master Zhan, the founder and owner of the school, specializes in lapi or wheel throwing. And while there are many more steps to making a finished piece, wheel throwing is what I'm here to learn. The head teacher, Tan Laoshi, is our docent for the day. Every time I wander in front of one of Master John's pieces, Tan Laoshi is there to explain what I'm looking at.
每个当地的材料不同，思想文化不同，包括窑也有各种窑，烧成的效果也不一样，都有关系的。
He takes me for a cup of tea with Master John. Between the hot tea and Master John's generous personality, I feel at ease in an unfamiliar place. I've only just arrived and I feel like there's already so much to learn. And in just 2 days, my classes will officially begin.
你好。哦，开始下雨了。
走这里。
It's the peak of summer, and the 95-degree heat and humidity in Jingdezhen is no joke. I'm the first student in this morning, and it's time for my first lesson. Centering.
我先示范一个，先抱下面。
Centering is the process of aligning the clay on the wheelhead so the mass spins evenly and symmetrically. If you want a fighting chance at making almost anything on the wheel, you have to start with centered clay. And while centering is my first real challenge, I tell myself that today is really just about getting acquainted with the material.
手不能弯啊，过来，把你的取小一点。
This is a much needed intervention, but even on easy mode, just touching the clay seems to make it wobble. I've done some pottery in the past, if going to a few one-time classes counts. But really, besides that, I'm a complete beginner. The clay feels surprisingly temperamental, thrown off by the slightest movement, yet resisting when I try harder to bring it back. Still, I try to remember all the moving parts I was just taught. Arms at 2:30 and 7:30, foot on the pedal, hands moving in tandem. Other students are trickling in. In what seems like no time at all, the student next to me throws a giant piece while I continue to fiddle with my nub. Me and him, we'll call him AT, get to chatting, and I find out he came to Jingdezhen from France after seeing a YouTube video of Master John. AT doesn't speak Chinese, and Chinese isn't my first language either. We're mutually relieved to be able to speak English to one another.
At least a month, I think.
1 month? That's good because you learn from the start with a good technique. I always had teachers that told me it's impossible to do big thing, and I saw videos of Jingdezhen and I said yes, it's possible.
Apparently, I'm not the only one who was pulled to Jingdezhen from far away.
And the clay is more difficult to work here because it's porcelain. And so if you learn with this clay, then every clay will be easy after.
As we chat, the motions are starting to feel more intuitive. After lunch, I get to witness Master John giving a wheel-throwing demo for a group of visitors. Even though it's instructive, it feels like a performance because Master John's motions are so fluid, like an art of their own. I try to observe his technique, but end up mesmerized by the way the forms seem to materialize under his fingers. Master John is a natural storyteller. He entertains the crowd effortlessly while his hands seem to move of their own accord. His stories of his apprentice days are a good reminder that what looks easy now was once a challenge too. Seeing him in action has me eager to return to the wheel tomorrow.
尝试一下，
可以可以
2块钱5块钱一份吧。
啊
原来是1块钱一份，5块钱一份，
啊，
可以尝试一下。
可以可以
猪三粉原来去吃的时候你要排队哦。
啊，人还是挺多。
来3桌。肯定打到心里面去。外面的人，第一是吃不了这辣，第二是也不知道这个地方。15年前什么装饰，这里还是什么装饰，一点都没改变。
上热下冷，上面是热的茶叶，下面是冻的。
哦，那我就来一个那个根儿饮过。
After taking one day off, I feel like I forgot everything. So I start day 2 by reviewing and practicing what I learned on day 1, coning up and down on a small piece of clay. Just when I'm starting to get warmed up, I'm interrupted by Xu 教练, who seems to think it's time to move me forward. This is where I learned the 5-step method. I grab a bigger lump of clay this time, and almost immediately it's a disaster. I cut my losses. Attempt number 2. At first, it seems like it'll be a repeat of the first fail. But this is the moment something clicks. The clay seems to slacken and fall into place. I've found the right cadence between my 2 hands. My right supports and catches the clay as my left applies pressure. My form is far from textbook, but this is a clear before and after moment. My first go at the 5-step method is crude, to say the least. I lose the plot by the second step. But I'm having fun and feeling accomplished nonetheless. In Chinese, they don't say center clay. They say 抱泥, to hug or hold clay. There's something about that, focusing on the embrace of clay and decentering the outcome, that really helped me. Master Zhan has taken the traditional Jingdezhen method of throwing off the hump and simplified it into an easy-to-follow 5-step process. It sinks in that this primitive little cup is the starting point for infinite shapes, like a Cambrian explosion, but for clay. And I start to feel really excited at all the possibilities opening up to me. Class is being held in the secondary space today. But as always, I start with centering. Slowly but surely, I am getting there. Today is all about practicing the 5 steps over and over and over again. Hours blur together, and by lunchtime, I've created an army of little cups who I then march straight into the recycle pile. After lunch, AT and I grab coffee across the street. I'm grateful to have found a friend.
And he gave me an advice so good, and he told me, calm your heart. And this kind of advice is not, technical, but it's so precious.
Master Zhan is right. Frustration doesn't do you any favors when you're throwing. Right now, I haven't hit that wall yet. I'm making fast progress, and each day still feels new and exciting. But I know the time will come when I'll really need to hold on to that advice. So far, my class days have looked a little like this. I wake up around 8 a.m. and grab a breakfast on the go. I arrive at the studio soon after 8:30 and get set up. Mornings are typically spent practicing everything I've learned up until that point. But by the end of each day, I'm introduced to something new. Just enough to give me a challenge before the wheel gets cleaned off for the day around 5 p.m. Yesterday, I was given a preview of my next challenge. Pulling. Pulling comes after the 5 steps and is all about moving the clay upwards to thin out and heighten its walls. Xu 教练 showed me how to do a pull on the basic form created after the 5 steps, and then how to open that up into a saucer. Both are essential techniques to create desired shapes in the future. My centering has come leaps and bounds since my first day. Still, I remind myself to take as long as I need to get centered before moving to the next step. After today, things are going to switch up a bit. I'm taking tomorrow off, but when I come back, the Gaoyanban, a 10-day intensive course, begins. It's the kind of thing that draws students to Master Zhans from all over China and beyond. People who are serious about learning pottery. I guess I'm one of them now. In the mornings, I'll practice on the wheel like I've been doing already, but each afternoon, a guest master will give a crash course in their specialty, whether that's hand painting Qinghua or trimming. Most days, Master Zhan will also give a lecture and demonstration. I won't be taking another rest day until it's over. The past week has been a lot to absorb. I'm in China, in the new city. It's been physically demanding too. I wake up every morning only a little less sore than the day before. But this new routine I've slipped into has unexpectedly brought me an intense happiness. Looking back, I wish I'd filmed more clips speaking to the camera, or even speaking behind it. That way, I might remember what I was feeling in that exact moment. It's not easy to share who you are on camera. But there is one voice memo I left on my phone the night before my first day of class. It's July 11th. It's 11 p.m. the night before classes. And I've been feeling a little nervous all day, and I think I know why. When I was little, I had this dream of being an artist in my own little studio, and even though I grew up and found new passions and went in a different direction, I always hoped I could one day work for myself and live life on my own terms. Eventually, maybe. Now that my life has brought me here to learn pottery, that childhood dream feels like it's stirring from a long, self-induced sleep. It feels like it could be real now. I think I've unwittingly put a lot of pressure on myself to not only love pottery, but excel at it. Because if I like it and I'm good at it, then maybe this could be my path toward my dream. Which is a ridiculous amount of pressure to put on yourself before you've even started. The master kept using a phrase yesterday when we were having tea. He kept saying "wan nipa," which translates to playing with mud. And maybe that's just what they say here. Maybe I'm over-translating, reading too much into it, but I've been replaying those words in my head, using them to remind myself to adopt a lighter mindset. I'm here to learn pottery, sure, and it's okay to have high hopes, but it's also okay for me to just play with clay. These 30 days don't have to be the beginning of my life's work to be worthwhile. Just like clay beneath my hands, I can shape my journey step by step, bit by bit, and just see where it takes me.